Welcome to another episode of How I Discovered My Gift with yours truly, David D. Simons. I'm honored and delighted to have this special guest for y'all today. He's a game changer. He's an innovator. He's a multiple award-winning, successful person, entrepreneur. So I can't wait for you guys to hear this. So LaVon Lewis, one of the nation's most respected authorities on branding, design, and marketing, and he is the co-founder, president, and creative director of Connect Branding, an Atlanta-based award-winning branding and marketing firm. LaVon transforms conceptual ideas into signature brands for companies all over the world. Today, LaVon has earned his way to being one of the most sought-after branding and marketing professionals in the nation, as noted by Black Enterprise magazine. LaVon founded his first company in a dorm room at his alma mater at the tender age of 19 with his business partner and Connect Branding co-founder, Sherrod Shackelford. Upon graduation and submitting numerous resumes and applications, Mr. Lewis was rejected from more than 25 different employers. Despite the obstacles that were placed along his path, his ambition, passion, and vision superseded his lack of experience, finances, and business support. With his goal clearly in view, LaVon has led creative direction for several Fortune 100 companies and thousands of small businesses. LaVon was recently named one of Atlanta's top 25 rising stars. Today, with over 20 years of business achievements under his business belt, LaVon Lewis and the Connect Branding team have amassed over 50 awards worldwide, i.e. the U.S. Department of Commerce Minority Technology Firm of the Year, Golden Addy, GMSDC Supplier of the Year, and Entrepreneur of the Year, and have garnished a business clientele portfolio that boasts of the country's who's who in business and entertainment: SeaWorld, Panasonic, the Home Depot, Walmart, AT&T, Coca-Cola, just to name a few. In addition to his business success, Mr. Lewis is also an author with his book, Today is a Great Day for a Wow Image, which has been a great resource for business owners and aspiring business professionals alike. With his vast knowledge of the marketing genre, LaVon has not only been featured in several publications, websites, and TV shows such as BlackEnterprise.com and ABC, to name a few, but he's also joined the ranks of the most sought-after public speakers of our time, hosting and headlining conferences, seminars, and workshops, in addition to co-founding the Make Them Buy marketing and branding boot camps. So welcome to the show, LaVon. Thank you for being on, brother. Truly an honor and truly a pleasure.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. I've been watching you. You've been killing the game.
Doing
So
my best,
I appreciate it.
Looking up to the trailblazers like yourself, man. So I thank you so much for being on the show, and I just want to give some context. You're a successful man, but you're also just a down to earth person. Like I remember just the opportunity. I reached out to you and said, "Hey, man, I'm in Atlanta. I would love to connect," and we got a chance to chat and talk about life, business, relationships, all of those things. And so I just want listeners to know, sometimes you see people that you admire, seeing them online, like LaVon, or people that are doing extremely successful, but very rare that you see that people like himself that are also very, very humble and caring and considerate. And so I just wanted to share that little note of gratitude, brother. So
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. That's important to me. I appreciate that.
no doubt. So let's take this dive in, man. So at 19, right, you're starting this business out of your dorm room, but I'm sure it didn't just start in the dorm room. What was the journey like from childhood? Like, walk me through the process.
Well, I'll tell you this. I didn't want to be an entrepreneur at that age, right? It's funny how this thing works, right? So, I've been a creative person since, I was born. I started drawing my first drawing. I was about 5.
Yeah.
Didn't know where it would end up. I just knew I was the kid in class that everyone, when they give you those art assignments, they're like, LaVon, you draw mines, and things like that. So I knew I had a gift, never knew I would make a living off of it. Never knew how it would affect other people or change people's lives. It was just fun, And I took my first art course, probably in the 11th grade. And the teacher was like, hey, you have a gift. You should go to the advanced course. My first course ever, right? But until then, I just kind of played with it, drew things, all these things. Little did I know, and all of the guests, all of the viewers should know that, you have to hone your gift. I didn't know that I was working on my gift, evolving it from a 5-year-old to an 18-year-old. I didn't know, but to the point where I was advanced ready in my first art class. And then I started submitting, to different contests to win different awards. I wanted to go to college, and I was also not only a creative, but I was a musician. And
Mm,
so they told me if you pass this advanced course, when you go to college, you can start at a sophomore level as a freshman.
mm,
And so I did that. And, I went and everything was good. And that's where I started my business, and that's how it started. I started to draw things, design things on campus. People discovered it. And I'm like, oh, people will pay for this. And I didn't know that.
mm,
so,
mm, mm.
and that's why I had to learn business. I was a creator first. And then, you kind of get thrown into business and you learn how to charge and conduct meetings and present and write and really help companies and individuals market themselves. So that's where it started. I'll end with this. When I graduated, I thought, okay, that was fun. Now let's go get a job like they tell you to do. And I submitted 25 or more resumes at that time, and no one would hire me. And so I said, I have this business that I've been running about 4 years in college now, outside of study, the marching band. I went to HBCU. I played the drums.
Mm.
And I just ran this business in between classes and bands and Saturday games and things of that nature. I was one of those students. I never really went out, never really drank. I just kind of stuck to the script. I built my business. I worked, went to band practice, and just kind of did that kind of thing. Little
Mm.
did I know it paid off, So I graduated without a job and just took the business, and we grew it from there.
Whoa, that's
Yeah.
amazing, man. Because to see the level of success you've achieved, I'm sure some people listening. I'm thinking about the listener that like, yeah, I can draw, I have this gift, but I don't think I can really, how could I ever turn this into an empire? Well, obviously, it didn't start that way, right? It built gradually, but when did you know, like okay, this is gonna be something I'm gonna do now? Like, when was that defining moment? Was it while you're in college? Was it right after college and you did? There was nowhere to turn. And you said, "All right, I'm gonna make this happen." What was that first like either major sale to you? Right, it could be
Mhm.
relative that made you say, "Okay, I can build an empire on this, or I can build something with this."
Well, I think that while I was in college, it was just cool making side money. I was building a business, but you thinking when I graduate, I got to work for somebody, right? That's the way this works. I don't have any business experience. We didn't have funding. We're young.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool side money. That's what you
Right.
think.
Mm-hmm.
I never forget my business partner, and I tell this joke about our first deal because he was brilliant and had his own business. I had mine, and we decided we're stronger together. Our
Mm-hmm.
first deal together was $1,000. We thought we was rich back then. So
Mm.
we were like, somebody paid us $1,000, you know.
Wow. Yes.
And we always tell that story to this day, over 20 years later, on stage about how we got together. We're an example of how two Black men can come together, work together, remain friends, and evolve, you know. And so, we met then. We both have been married. We both have kids, and we just evolved as men and being able to maintain this friendship and business relationship. So, um, but to get back to your question, I think I discovered that I should take this seriously when my back was against the wall. When you are 22 years old, nobody will hire you, and you're looking at the world and school is over, you got to make some decisions. You got to have some ingenuity, you know. And so just like I took a pencil and a pad and drawing into a branding and marketing company, I would say any industry is like that. If you play tennis, if you play the guitar, if you draw,
Yeah.
if you cook chicken, if you cut lawns, right?
Yeah.
Everything is just this little hobby until you figure out a way to turn it into something, right?
That's true.
Every everything. The person that, started cooking chicken, they could have just did it in their kitchen, or you got Popeyes. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of where you see that you fit in the world, what's missing, how do you brand and market it,
Mm.
and your vision and the tenacity to get it done. And the people that is about the people that are around you as well. So that's how I see it. Everything starts like a small, fun hobby until
Yeah.
you turn it into something.
That's beautiful, man. Well put. Like, you're right. Everybody pretty much has this potential and opportunity, but not everybody leverages it. So take me that then into the mindset of a young LaVon, right? Because you said you didn't want to be necessarily the goal wasn't to be an entrepreneur, but did you have like a dedication to drawing? Like, did you like what was the kind of work you put in? Obviously, to be able to build a business in college and then eventually build it out beyond that after college. But yeah, talk to us about that.
Well, I had two things that drove me. I had a dedication to creative, one, and then people, right? So what happened was anything I get involved in, I wanted to be the best of what I did, whether it's drawing or if it's designing, if it's strategizing about a brand, if it's social media. I'm like, I want to be the absolute best when I walk in the room, the uppermost creative, the uppermost intellectual when I walk in the room. And so that it created a need because I would deal with people that heard that, I did this thing and that thing. And then you want to make sure that you live up to that. You want to make sure that people spend money with you and they're happy.
Yeah.
And so it started with those two things. I think all business marketing and branding is about empathy. It's about
Mm,
putting yourself in the other person's shoes and making sure you meet the need and understand and hear what they need and want. And you connect from there. That's what I think it's about.
wow. Wow, that's deep. So, obviously this skill that you've had and this gift of like writing and I mean creating designs and things of that nature, but you really hit on something because there's a gift that's usually beyond the gift, right? And it is empathy one of your gifts as well, like that you just can see yourself in another shoe, and if you could speak on that.
It's funny. I've never been asked that question. It's a good one. But I like this because it's live and on the spot. I think so. Yeah, I think empathy, compassion.
Mm,
And we all have gifts. Sometimes I use it to a fault, but for the most part, it's navigated me to where I am.
mm,
It's just kind of like when you met me, right? You mentioned, well, this guy's humble. You kind of felt the energy on me that I wasn't arrogant, things of that nature. I always tell myself and people around me this. I think it's easy to be a highly skilled person and arrogant, right?
mm,
But it's hard to be successful, highly skilled, and humble,
mm,
right? And those people are rare. Those are the people I like to hang around. Those are the friends I like to have. And so that's just the personal note I've always told myself that I tell people. I try very hard to stay, very humble, very relatable, empathetic, compassionate.
yeah,
You have to have barriers,
yeah,
while trying to be extremely successful and good at what I do. And I think
mm,
that just creates a rare person that's magnetic to people when you walk in a room.
that's
And
real.
so with that, you can attract the right friends, the right business, and for the right reasons and have the right circle around you. So I do think that is one of my gifts that I've worked on over time. And
Yeah,
I think it just pays off to be a good person to
yeah,
people. It,
yeah.
it, it just does.
Wow, man, it's evident, man, in your life. That's great. So now talk to me about the development, right? Because you said something that's really profound to me. About your demeanor in college, how you could have just went out, done all the regular things everybody did, but you were in the dorm room, probably working, doing stuff that your normal college student is not doing. And I always like to kind of share for listeners in any endeavor, whether it's graphic design, branding, marketing, or any career. What is the unseen stuff that you had to do? The development. Nobody knows the hours spent on Adobe Photoshop and learning the craft of this software and Illustrator and this. Like, if you could speak behind the unseen hours, all the stuff that you put in that nobody will ever know.
Yeah.
Usually, what you
Yeah.
did.
I was so focused back then, I didn't even realize what I was missing. People would say, I'm going to a party, this or that, and nothing's wrong with that. But
Yeah.
I'd be like, cool, I'm going to my room to draw. I got a client.
Mm,
I didn't think I'm missing anything. Right. So, but some of the underground grit, I never forget my dorm room was 402, fourth floor, right in front of the dorm at Alabama A&M, Foster Hall, And so, if I would have a client, I would be doing that work. If I didn't think that I was good at something or I was missing something, I was just so focused on working on it. I would have like 6 hours of band practice, a full-time university schedule. And I'm like, I have two designs or a drawing tonight. That's all I cared about, you know. And I would just sit in my room. I'm a music guy, cut on some music and get it done. And what made me happy is that when I delivered it to the customer, they were happy or they referred me or they paid me or something. It's that gratification that I was looking forward to. And so that's really it. But even little things like, I would go back home. So my university was in Huntsville.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So about 2.5 hours away, right?
Mm-hmm.
So today we have laptops. We're talking about back then, right? I couldn't
Yeah.
afford a laptop. I barely could afford the computer I bought.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would pack up my whole system, put it in the car, in the box. And wherever I was going home to Tuscaloosa, Atlanta, wherever, I would set up there like a laptop and work.
Wow.
And I never even thought about it. I was just so focused. I never thought about, I just moved my whole system 2 hours away to work. just,
The
just
whole
like a laptop.
tower.
The whole thing. I didn't even think about it. It's like, oh, I have to go to, Nashville. Okay, boom, pack it up, put it in the box, put it in the car, go. Didn't even
Mm.
think about it.
Wow.
I would get to my location, where am I staying, set it up, work. Pack it up, go back to Alabama A&M and go from there. Never thought about it. But that's the thing about being focused and having tunnel vision.
Yeah.
It's just what you had to do. You do what you got to do. And it's even when I couldn't afford a computer, I used to just draw like flyers that we see today on Instagram.
Yeah.
I used to draw that stuff by hand. So I didn't make any excuses. So I'm running for Miss Alabama A&M against this person, and I have this budget. I would draw it by hand. I would take a picture, glue it on. This is some of the unknown stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would take their picture, glue it on a sheet of paper, right? And draw around it and go, at that time, Kinko's, but now FedEx, make 100, 200, 300 copies and sell it to them.
Whoa.
That's what I would do. What you do in the computer, I did by hand, right?
Amazing.
Not knowing that I wasn't making excuses, not knowing there was any other way. I'm just like, I don't have a computer. They paying me. We're going to get it done.
Mm.
Right. And I got to the point very shortly where I made enough money. I actually bought a computer. I didn't even know how to send an email when I got the computer. Right. So I had to teach myself how to send an email, how to communicate, how to use Photoshop. How much does it cost? How to use Illustrator. It was so hard at one time I almost quit. There was one guy, I forget his name, but he don't realize he changed my life. He saw me and he saw my face one day and he was like, man, you look discouraged. What's going on? And I was like, man, I'm about to quit. Like, this is too hard to learn. Photoshop, Adobe, like all of this is hard because I was moving ahead of the school at that time. No one could teach me. So when I actually got in a Photoshop class, I knew it 2 years before I got there.
Wow.
Right. Or Illustrator class. I had taught myself 2 years before, but learning it made you want to give up. It's hard software.
It is.
So, and at this time I'm 20, you know what I mean? So 19, 20, about to give up. And he was an upperclassman. So he said, you know what? Everybody starts that way. Just keep going. You'll do it. That 1 5-second convo made me keep going.
Look at that.
Right. I don't even remember his name, but he doesn't realize he changed my life.
Look
with
at
that.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's wow. Thank you for sharing that, man. Wow. So, you're working on this craft, but like, there's something I'm learning as the more you speak. Like, your mentality was just out of this world, man. Like, where is this something innate? Like, this is who you are. Did you model it? Did you see it in your family and your parents? Did you is it the community? Like, where did you develop that mind? Because there's plenty of people that are talented. We know there's not a shortage of talent, but that kind of grind, that focus, that discipline to carry your tower to where you're traveling, to lock in and say, forget the party right now. That's not common.
Yeah, I think two things motivated me. One, I just don't like to quit on any side, whether that's a personal relationship, business, a project. I just don't like the feeling of quitting. So if something gets hard, maybe I complain here or there, but for the most part, I'm like, we got to figure this out, for the most part. So I'm like, I graduate, no one will hire me. I'm not just going to sit here with no job. I got to figure this out. If I can't design, I'm not just going to sit here and be whack. I'm going to I'm gonna figure it out, and so if I'm in a room and I'm not going to be the one that knows the least, I'm going to figure it out. And then secondly, what people don't understand, I have a very good business partner, right? And what's motivational is the energy off of him. You know what I mean? So when you're working with somebody and you guys are hustlers and grinders and you're dedicated to being great, that energy is infectious. So you can have a day where you're down, discouraged, and you get a phone call or a meeting. You're like, you know what? We can do this. We got it. that kind of thing. And
Mm.
people wouldn't believe this as well. This is another thing I had to work on. And few people around me know this years back. And you may hear me speak now and it's different, but there was a time I could not articulate my thoughts.
Mm.
You know, I had this country twang. I'm in Atlanta now, but I lived in Alabama.
Mm.
The first time I got to college, people would say, "Man, what the hell are you saying?" They didn't know what I was saying. I was so country, they didn't know what I was saying. And so I started this business. And for the next 2 years, that was another development thing. I focused on, not that I'm ashamed of where I'm from, because I
Yeah.
tell everybody,
Yeah.
but I focused on the way I spoke because I was so embarrassed every time I opened my mouth. And I'm like, I can't be out here presenting, getting money from people, and I
Mm.
can't speak.
Mm.
No one's going to believe me. They're not going to buy, and it's embarrassing. So I spent 2 years specifically working on being clear in the mind, learn how to articulate my thoughts
Yeah.
and enunciate my words and just be a better communicator all the way around. And communication is not only speaking, but listening.
That's right.
Right. So I've learned how to do both, and it's been very good in my career.
Wow. Wow, man. So, I want to kind of go another direction in what you talked about. You kind of hinted at it earlier, right? Having a co-founder in your partner Sherrod,
Hmm.
and especially as black men in our society today, there's this thought that everybody's competing against each other. There's not a lot of community, but it's like you said, this has been dynamic you guys have, and it's very rare. So major kudos to y'all. So if you could speak to that in the development process of the business that you guys built up, what I mean, how did for people that are listening that have horror stories of partnerships, and they've had really rough partners, they've had regardless of race or ethnicity, but they've just the idea of trying to bring two egos, two visions, two mindsets, two powerhouses. How do you work together and make a partnership work?
That's a good question. It's an answer that a lot of people it can be challenging for a lot of people. I'll say it takes a lot of maturity. So let me break it down for you. Let me let you know who you're working with.
Yeah.
Sherrod and I both realized early that no one is greater than the other. We're both, in our opinion, two kings that could exist individually that realize we're more powerful together. Right. So let me give you some backstory. You know my story about how I've been drawing and I got really good creatively. You know, I've won 50 awards worldwide. I work with 2,000 clients, like all these kind of things. Well, Shiraz's the same. I've been covered by Black Enterprise, so is he. But when he came to college, he was, 18 with a Motorola contract from Chicago,
Mm.
that he had for like a year or so, building websites and doing digital strategy. You know what I mean? So, you talking about a really, and he's still that forward thinking to today, like the stuff he's on today and 10 years ago and 5 years ago is always years ahead of the game. Like I never forget that, people won't believe this, but what Facebook is today, I
Hmm.
saw him develop Facebook years before it came out,
Wow.
like built the whole website program, coded it, everything. When we were like 17 years old,
Wow.
17, 18 years old, somewhere around there. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I can't speak on any other things, but he's built or have ideas about other things that you may see out right now that are $1 billion companies that
Hmm.
just probably got to market before he introduced it. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So my point is, you know, we are two individual kings with a lot of power, a lot of intelligence that we decided we have to come together. So what that means is that, we've spoken 500 times on every stage you can imagine. We work with 2,000 clients, all these things. Do you know every meeting, every day we have to decide and be mature. I have to look at a customer and say, you know what? This customer personality works better with yours. So I'm going to be number two today.
Wow.
Right. We
Wow.
go on a stage. I have to say, you know what? You're better to lead this meeting than me. Maybe we both go on stage, but you're number one. And he does the same. It's been times where he said, you know what, I'm going to step down and I'm not going to talk to this client at all. Or as we deal with money or growing, we have to make decisions without emotion.
Hmm.
And the way that works is that there's a trust level that has to happen that happens in those dark times, those times people don't see. Right.
Hmm.
So example, if somebody pays us now, he doesn't even, I don't like double check behind him, double check the money or
Hmm.
this or that. There's just a trust level because like they say, iron sharpens iron.
Right.
And what develops the trust, it may hurt in the moment, but long term is work for us. And what that means is that we are always honest. So if there's a case where we do a deal and I mess something up and costs, he has to tell me that, hey, you messed this up. Here are the consequences, or
Mm-hmm.
vice versa. And I have to be humble enough to be like, you know what? You're right. This is how I could have improved next time. This and that or that. Knowing that individually I can be successful, individually he can, but to make a partnership work, you have to know how to coexist or be number one day, number two the next day. You in all circumstances, like your feelings don't matter,
Wow.
right? It's all about what's the greater good, what's the machinery of the whole thing, what's the greater good, and that's all that matters. So if I walk in a room and we decide, hey, you lead this meeting, I'm not going to be in my emotions like I'm less than because he leads the meeting. That's what's best for the meeting.
Mm.
And there's been a lot of cases where have a new client and he may say, you go to the meeting, I'm not going at all, because we've analyzed the client and said, that's just best. You and that client seem to be getting along very well. I'm not getting in the middle of that. See what I'm saying?
Wow.
So that's a level of maturity a lot of people don't have. Everybody want to be big dog. Everybody want to be CEO. Everybody want to be number one. That don't matter, man.
Yeah.
You know, because the number 50th guy at Facebook is richer than most people in the world.
Look at that.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Wow. Wow, man. I mean, you just dropped some major heat here, because that's like, I can't tell you, I'm just being honest, I can't tell you very many partnerships that I have seen across on a level like y'all's that work or work long term, or even just work period. And so to hear that the behind the scenes of that humility, it sounds like, and it's not like like can somebody, so I'm sure somebody's listening thinking, can I find a LaVon, can I find a Sherrod, like how do I identify, or is it, do you believe that some of it was just like, man, y'all right place, right time, right spirits? Like, how can somebody identify, like, oh, you know what, this might be a good partner? Like, is that possible?
yeah, it's possible. I do think it's a God thing with us. I think right place, right time, God set us together. I think
Yeah.
he put our destiny in each other's pocket and connected us, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you can't, like, Shirai has other businesses where he has other partners. You know, I have, partnerships with different things that I do as well. So there's ways to find individuals. You know, it's hard to find our communication and trust level,
Mm.
but we operate at just a really high standard when it comes to integrity, to the
Yeah.
point where I pour that out on my friends and relationships I've been in. It's just, I'm just used to a high standard. You got to tell the truth. You got to have integrity. You can't hide nothing. You got to, if you have an issue, tell me right now. Don't hold it, and that's just the standard that I'm used to. Because if I have an issue with him about something in business, it will manifest itself in different ways 3 months later.
Mm.
Or no one deserves passive aggressiveness, right?
Right.
Or I can just say, now, hey, I have an issue with that thing you did this morning. Let's talk about it.
Mm.
And he trusts me enough to know, all right, what do you got to say?
Mm.
And we'll say it, be like, okay. And if he's wrong, my bad. I didn't mean to make you feel that way. Or if he's right, he'll be like, I hear you, but I'm right.
Mm.
It's just about being a man with the situation. Like, I hear what you're saying, but that's not what I meant. And that's not correct.
Mm.
And you just got, it's just big boy shit,
Yeah.
that's just what it is.
That sounds like a master, like there should be like a master class, like y'all teach or something on that down the line. I don't know, like, but
It's
like,
coming. It's coming.
maybe I'm speaking something I didn't even know about. All right, so now that's gold. That's gold. So
Yeah.
talk to us about the business now. Like, okay, you guys have built this huge brand in Connect branding, and I mean, like some of the clients you guys work with are just next level, large corporations, as you shared. Um, how did you take it from building, probably like working with maybe local clients, to then national, global? How did what were the process for those listening? Like, how do I build a global brand like you guys have built?
That's a couple ways. I'm proud that we built a 7-figure branding firm, out of a dorm room. I think that several ways you got to do that. One, you have to be really patient. Nothing happens overnight. So a lot of people get paralyzed because they have this big vision. And if they don't start with the big vision, they quit.
Yep.
Right. So if you want to make like $1 million and you don't do it the first year, some people quit. Well, maybe we made 80,000 look at that, correct it, you make 200 the next year, and then you look up and you're at 1 million, right? And so with us, it's patience, is building of systems. When you go from a dorm room client to like a Coca-Cola or a SeaWorld or something like that, that's relationships and time. I boast a lot that we don't advertise. We've never done a social media campaign, ad boosting, um, took an ad in a magazine. Where we are today is off of referral, right? And so our strategy has been, we gain a lot of credibility with the awards that we won, the articles that have covered us, the news outlets. We do things like this podcast, we speak, but first and foremost, we just try to do really, really amazing work. So if I do amazing work for you, you're going to tell a person in your circle and level that we did it, and so on and so on. And that's the 20 years. So when we get a call from a SeaWorld or a Coca-Cola or an AT&T, we didn't advertise that. They called us. It's relationship, it's good work. Hey, we heard about you. And then we take that opportunity and we try to kill it and go to the next one and form a really good relationship.
That's beautiful. Like, wow. Like literally the brand and people, I think the misnomer about branding, they think branding is just the logo. Branding is beyond that, right? Like I try to tell people about branding all the time, and obviously the brand you guys have built is relationship driven as well. So the brand, you guys embody what branding really is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. And we understand our brand. See, what I'm about to drop on you now. Okay. This is the jewel. You ready?
All right, I'm ready.
People, Sherrod talks about this a lot in our seminars. People have to know what they really sell. So brand, you're right. It's not the logo. It's not the web alone. It's part of it, but not that alone. So internally, we know that I told you how Sherrod came to college with a Motorola contract. I told you how I've done a lot of great things creatively and business wise when we met. We know that when customers sit in front of us, they're buying his brain and my heart,
Mm,
right? We
mm,
never say it. It's not on the website. We know. It does not mean I can't think or strategize, that I'm not smart. It doesn't mean he doesn't have a heart, right? But when we communicate, people feel my heart, my integrity, my empathy, my compassion. They feel it.
yeah.
And when he talks, they feel like, man, this guy's brilliant, right? And we know that, right?
Yeah.
So when you sit down with us, we understand it's the heart brain effect. We know it. We know that's our brand, and we know that combination makes us special, right? And everything is follow price point, quality of work, how we communicate, how we respect people. 90% of our clients are females, so it's rare to find two guys that work with a lot of females and understand females, understand how to listen to them, help them grow their business and be successful. We're talking about really successful females. You know what I mean? So when you're talking about growing a brand, it's a branding firm and we do different things, but we understand what people are really buying. And it's really our ability to think, figure out, solve problems, and our heart to care when things go right or wrong, and they trust that to work on their behalf.
Wow, that's profound, man. Like that's deep. That's deep. Now, I'll
I'll,
take
I'll,
it.
I'll, I'll say this to people. You never
Yeah.
sell the product,
Mm,
right? You sell the void you feel. You never sell the product.
that's good. Never sell the product. Sell the void you feel. That's
Right.
game. That's game. So take us through for you, right? Like you've developed your skill sets to this high level. Is there and it's a curious question. Do you still like draw and draft and still like, or do you now transferred your gifting to the team and the things and the people that work with you guys to do work, or do you still like today and from a creative perspective?
Yeah, we do have a creative team and technical and content team as well. So we do have all of that. But, here and there, I do still get my hands dirty and design here and there. But I think whether it's me or someone on the team or me giving direction to the team, the drawing is the basis. So if we have a customer or sometimes I've been known to draw in a meeting and I'll say, well, is this what you're trying to say? Or to communicate a thought sometimes to my team, I may say, well, or Sherrod does this too, draw something and say, well, this is what we think it should look like as us directing the creative, right?
Yeah.
This is what we think, boom, 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 whether it's web, logo, this or that or that. The team gets it. Now they can see it and then we execute. So that happens a lot as well. But I think for us, the custom nature of the pencil or the pen will always remain. Whether that, even if that strategy, you may say, hey, your business, we've talked to some people that think they have one business. We'll say, no, you have three. And it's ABC, and this is how it works. And we'll draw the whole thing out. And then it converts into something magical.
Wow. That's beautiful, man. So it's like you guys are like with brand building, obviously the logo, the web, and all those pieces are a part of it. But you guys are really business developers that help them build businesses that can be sustainable brands. If that's what I'm hearing correctly.
That's really it. Yep. We can help you with business strategy as good as anyone. If you come to us, we're not just a web design company. We have a customer right now. They have a individual have a documentary coming out on Netflix. We be able to help that individual with business strategy, marketing strategy, creative direction, logo, branding, web. We built an online university for them based on the content that's coming in the Netflix documentary. And we built an entire business model, revenue model, price point for them, wrote a book, right? Helping them publish the book. So when the Netflix documentary comes out, people go online and, oh, wow, there's a university, there's a revenue model, there's projections we have to hit, there's a book, and there's sales, right?
Wow.
So we can scale to that degree with people. We've probably written 25 books. We've shot a few documentaries, or you can just come get a website, either way. So it just depends on where the customer is. But yeah, I think what makes us so good in the creative and digital space is because we understand business, because creative and digital, I always say, is the answer to business strategy or the manifestation of business strategy to me. And so you don't just start with the pretty stuff. You get into the meat, understand the customer, understand the business and the model and the plan. And then the creative meets you there to communicate it to the customer. And that's my philosophy.
Wow, man. So, it makes me also ask, what kind of development do you put into yourself, right? Like because to do that means you must study like business, and study like, the art of this. And you said it a few times. You said, I've worked on this aspect of myself. Like, what is your like diet of personal development, brand development, like your own development into yourself?
Well, I'll tell you a truth about me. I just discovered this like 4 years ago. So I'm dyslexic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, I struggled a lot with comprehending when I read things, right? Or a person says things, I may not remember it as such. And so I thought growing up, I didn't know that. So I always thought I was less intelligent. When I figured it out just 4 or 5 years ago, I thought, oh, that's the reason. And I figured to focus on the positive sides of that, which means there's a superpower that I have, which is why I'm so good creatively, thinking on my feet, things of that nature. I say all that to say, to answer your question, the way I do self-development is I actually don't read a lot, right? I used to beat myself up about it, like you should read and books and things of that nature. But I get my information in different ways and that I know in ways that I know my brain can process it. So a lot of video, a lot of YouTube, a lot of workshops, classes, a lot of learning on the job, mentors, asking questions. Those are the ways that I stack my information in my mind. And then when you learn so much, your brain automatically pulls from different directions and you have what I call wisdom, right? To me, wisdom is just the ability to pull from past experiences.
Yeah.
So at this point, 20-year career, a customer, a business sits in front of me. I just have a lot of wisdom because I've learned from experience or watching over time. So I think everybody should take that away from this interview. Learn the best way that you see fit for you. I think everybody has their level of intelligence. You just have to learn how you can retain information. And for me, it's live experience and video. That's the best thing for me over reading.
That's good.
So that's my strength.
I love it. Knowing yourself. I love it. So talk to me about monetization, right? So you guys you led workshops. And I love the name. I remember when I would see the flyers about them online, make them buy. I was like, wow, that's genius, right? So the truth is a lot of people struggle with monetization, right? Like they got this gift, they got this talent. Maybe it's somebody listening right now. They are good at graphic design. They are good at visuals and web design, but they don't know how to monetize their own skill sets or giftings. What do you say to people that I mean, you guys you've done it masterfully. So how does one monetize their gifting?
I think a secret to not monetizing at times, especially when you start or you're a new business owner, and people don't really say this, but this is the way I see it. I think it's fear,
Mm,
especially with a service-based business. If you sell like a phone, you know, okay, the phone costs me $20 to produce. I want to make an 80% margin, charge 100. Let's see, right? But when you're like an accountant, you're like, I don't want to. My competition is charging 300 an hour. Should I? You know, would people reject me? Am I worth that much? It's fear,
mhm.
right? And so I think to monetize anything, you have to study the market to make sure that you're on par with the market. It doesn't mean that you have to charge exactly what people charge. You got to know how you're positioned. So, example, if I'm an accountant and the market charges 300 an hour, I have to make a decision. How much experience do I have? What void do I fill? Do I want to be priced the same? Do I want to consciously price myself lower? Do I want to price myself as elite higher? Right? You have to make that decision. So there was recently a business that I helped that sold products to women, right? And they had a particular product that they thought, you know, I'm going to ship this product back. It's not selling, things of that nature. And I looked at it, I'm like, it's a great product. I just think it's overpriced based on what I see in the market. So let's do one or two strategies. I said, hey, let's sell another product and give this one away half price, which you'll still profit on what you paid for it, or just reduce the price and let's just say this product 40-30% off or what have you. And that way you can still cover your costs. It was still like a 70-80% margin. So cutting off 30% is better than keeping the product and losing 100%.
Right,
Right. That's what I
right,
say.
true.
In 3 weeks, that product sold 50% of his inventory by just a different pricing strategy. Right.
Wow.
And I say that to say that was just not having a fear would have been, well, let's just send it back. Or, but not having fear is like, you know what? No, let's reduce the price, do a different strategy, study the market, see what people are charging for this type of thing, and let's go.
Mhm.
Even if people reject it again, let's go. We're not scared of that. And it
Right.
worked. And I think pretty soon the product would be sold out on a product that didn't sell much beforehand.
Look at that. It's
You know,
genius.
so it's fear. Just take chances. If things don't work, learn. We learned a lot with that product. Just learn. You
Mhm.
know, um, I don't risk. I don't care about being rejected by someone that's not doing anything. You
Right.
know, those are the people that say things or talk, you know, noise to you and things like that. They're not doing anything. But anybody's doing something, they get it. So I wouldn't worry about it.
That's real. No, that's good, man. So when you think about, I mean, there's a body of work here over how many years? Is it over 20
It's
in the
like
game?
23. I,
23, over
yeah,
23
I
years
know
in
I'm
the
only 42, but yeah.
game. So what are you? I mean, you've helped pastors, you've helped politicians. Recently, Senator Ralphie Warnock, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Um, what are you the most proud of? I know there that's a loaded question, right? But like is there a project? Is there something project wise? Because I'm sure as family, you're proud of your son, proud of all those things, right? That's
Hmm.
most important. All the business aside, secondly, but when it comes to the business, is there something you're most proud of? The work from either design, strategy, uh, you know, all aspects.
I would say not a particular project that I'm proud of. I'm proud of a lot. And whether the client is a Fortune 100 or a startup, I do value my clients the same, right?
Right.
But what I'm the most proud of is that we are a company that you can come to, and we are, what's the word I want to use? We are flexible enough to help most industries, right? So people can't, you don't come to us with just one industry. I do this one thing.
Mm,
I'm the most proud that we're so versatile, you
mm,
know. So, you know, you can go to our website and see like NATT, but you can also see a cupcake company. You can see a SeaWorld, but you can see a lotto company. You know what I mean? So you could see an individual coach that left corporate America and wondering what am I going to do next that we've helped, you know, or you'll see an Aflac, right? So I'm the most proud that we've been around so long with a great reputation, and I believe any company that walked through these doors, we can knock it out of the park better than any piece of competition, and I'm proud of that.
That's beautiful. And that's very and extremely hard to do in a world of niches, right? Like a
Yeah,
lot of people are like, what do you think makes your company able to do such a thing when, somebody's like, we just work with chiropractors. We just work with
right,
lawyers,
right.
like,
And it's funny. Some people will come to us and say, "Well, we got this company that's competing against you that only does chiropractic work, so we're gonna just roll with them because we're chiropractors." And we're like, "We don't care. It's like, it's like we
wow,
don't care. We're still better than them. That's what we think, right?"
wow, love it.
So, but I think here's the secret, right? And this
Mhm.
is on our website, and it's simple. We are just our secret is listening. That's it. If you listen, business is business, and customers, I look at them as a profile. So if you own a hair salon, I know you're not selling hair, you're selling confidence. So how do we sell confidence to women? I don't
Mm,
have to do hair to know that, right?
mm,
You know what I mean? If you're selling a magazine, you're not selling a magazine, you're selling content. So how do we get the best cover story and have the dopest content?
yeah.
And so I don't tell myself, well, I've never done a hair salon. I say, how do we sell confidence to women? That's what I
Mm,
tell myself. And
mm,
that's a psychological question. That's knowing people, and I think we know and listen to people better than most.
mm.
So I'm never intimidated by a new company or something I've never done. I just understand the business and the people, and I believe that we can make the connection. That's why we're called Connect Branding and Marketing. We think we could connect all things. We connect to you, we could connect you to your customers, and we get it. And sometimes we get people's businesses better than they do. We help them discover things in
Wow,
one call that they didn't even think about,
that's impressive.
and that's just
Wow.
our gift.
I love it, man. This is wow, it's game changing. So when you think about the future, what is the future? I know there's certain things you're working on, can't speak on, right? But besides all those great things that are in the works, what does the future look like for Connect Branding for you, your own personal brand? What is the future?
I think you'll see more what we're doing. We're real holistic when it comes to helping customers develop their business and brand and things like that. I think you'll see a lot more speaking and workshops and retreats from us as well. And then we're doing some new things in new industries. In the future as well. You may see us in a little bit of the TV world, behind the camera kind of thing as well. And so I just think we can take the talent and the skill set that we have and just distribute it amongst whatever we want, you
Mm,
know, because we have this. See, here's a unique thing about a branding firm, and you may know this as well doing social media.
hmm.
It's like we have this unique vantage point of we've seen every kind of business because we have to help them, right?
Right.
So when you talk about the wisdom and knowledge that it has, I don't wake up every day and I'm just selling a dress or a phone or a shoe,
Yeah.
right? Every day I have to deal with what the accountant wants me to help them with their business. So I have to understand accounting.
Mm,
We just signed on a new restaurant just signed on that's opening in Atlanta. So I have to learn restaurants.
yeah.
We just helped a female fashion line in LA. We had to do that, right?
Wow.
You got to help a SeaWorld that's competing against Disney World in Orlando. We got to know that.
Mhm.
So I have a vantage point that I can see businesses from several different industries every day over 20 years. So the
Mm,
wisdom is different, the experience is different, right? So
yeah.
we just believe we can pivot and do anything we want, just based off of what we know.
I love that. I love that, man. So it's like pretty much no matter what's thrown at y'all, like you can just adapt, and apply principles, wisdom, and like you said, I love what you shared about hair salons. It's like it's confidence. It's not about the hair. It's not about the product. You said that the void is what we're really selling, and that's the same for any business model.
Yeah.
So I
It's a
love that.
it's a belief system. We just believe we're competent. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Competence.
Mm.
We believe we're competent enough to solve any problem that comes our way. So we're not nervous about that.
Respect, respect. I love that, man. What about for you personally, man? You obviously have a book yourself. You have resources, things. What can people be able to look out for, or where can people connect and learn more about what you have to offer?
Yeah. Our website is brandingconnected.com
Okay.
or Instagram, just my name, LaVon Lewis.
Yes.
And I share a lot of things there. I share, branding tips. I share work. I have this cool thing called a brand reveal where we go from drawing to the end and show a whole process of building a brand in about 30 or 40 seconds, which
Yeah.
is really, really cool. So, and then you can just email me, LaVon at brandingconnected.com. And, we'll get you to the right folks. I'll meet with you and go from there. So yeah, that's how you can find out more.
Wow, that's what's up. So pretty much, what I'm gathering is somebody that's listening to this could be a restaurant, like you said. It could be um, a speaker. It could be pretty much. Hey, don't feel limited. Reach out. You guys can serve them, and they can work with you.
Pretty much you can. Yeah. I
Okay.
don't, you're not too small. You're not too large. With us, it's about alignment.
Mm,
So, you can call us as a startup. If we align, let's get it going. If
mm,
you're large, let's get it going. So,
yeah.
we've turned down large or small clients because just lack of alignment. We're not going to do anything that we don't believe we can hit a home run with.
Wow. That's
So, and we'll know that on our first call. We'll do a 30, 40-minute call. We'll know, oh, we got it. And you're going to know we got it. You're going to know. And so, and if not, we'll say, hey, we can't help you. But we believe we can do most things.
that's beautiful, man. Last few questions I have for you, Levon. Um, So that person listening to a young LaVon right now, right? That's listening. What would you tell them that kid that's drawing in a classroom, elementary school, or they're drawing in high school or college, and they know there's something they can do with this? What advice would you give to them to turn this into something that they can live out the rest of their lives with?
I would say, in your teens or 20s, take all of your risks now because it's actually overall less risky than taking it in your 30s, 40s, or 50s. Right. So try everything, whether it's drawing, painting, design, what have you, things of that nature. Two, I would be well versed when it comes to creative because when you're only good at one thing, it does cap your income. Right. So, example, if you just paint, there are successful painters, but it's extremely niche, extremely hard to do to make a living off of just painting. But if you can paint, if you can draw, if you understand web, if you understand social media, you understand video, you can, when you do any one of those things, the fact that you understand them all makes you a better creative, or you can just pivot from one thing to the next. So you'll be that person that can draw that now you can, creative direct or executive produce a TV show now
Mm,
because you understand content, you understand video, you understand painting, you understand all these things, and that knowledge works. So I would spend a lot of time just stacking your skills. Don't just be good in one area. Even being in my music background helped me. I was a musician for a decade. People don't know that. I
wow.
started in the sixth grade. I got a scholarship. I was top 5 in Alabama when I graduated playing the drums. Like you've seen Drumline, that was me.
Yeah.
I was the top
Wow.
5 in Alabama. At the same time, the top 5 artists drawing in Alabama when I graduated from high school. That's how I got my dual scholarship. So,
Amazing.
but even now, when we do video, when we do commercials, documentaries for people, that musical background and my brain's ability to um, just know vibes and music and things of that nature, and just using that creative muscle in a different way helps here.
Look
You
at
know, I probably wouldn't be as good as a business person or creative without music. I think it's the soundtrack of life. So
that.
gather all the knowledge you can in and out of the industry because your brain pulls those experiences and makes you just a more versed, in depth person.
Mm,
You know, it's the reason Barack Obama can do an interview and he's so intellectual. I promise, if you dig into his background, he
yeah.
spent time in solitude studying and reading and learning different things that it just flows out, you
Mm,
know. And so I leave you with this. Einstein once said, if you understand something, you say it simple. If it takes you a while to explain it, you don't understand it.
mm,
Right. And that just comes from investing in yourself.
that's good. Let's go. One question, one final question we ask Levon for every guest on our show, and you weren't prepped on this exact question. What is the difference between one's gift and one's purpose? One's gift and
Ah,
one's purpose.
he threw me off with that one, but we're going to do it. I think I'm competent to handle it. Nah. Okay, one's gift and one's purpose. If I had to give an answer, I think purpose is why you're here, right?
Mhm.
I think the gift is what you use along the way, or it gets you to the purpose, right?
Mm,
So I think if my purpose is to help businesses succeed help people get their dreams off the ground, grow and scale their business. My gift of being a creative business person is what I use to help me do that for people.
Love it. Love
So told you I was competent. I got it.
Yep. And you did like Einstein. You kept it simple. You made it simple.
I like those questions I didn't expect.
Right. I love it, man. Thank you so much, LaVon, for blessing the folks. So again, they can go to brandingconnected.com. They can go to LaVon at branding, LAVON at brandingconnected.com to inquire about a possible consultation and
Yep. Or on Instagram, LaVon Lewis.
LaVon Lewis. And we'll plug all these in the show notes. Any final words for the people as we leave?
No, I would say, first of all, thank you. For the people that know you and the people that don't, I've been watching this guy for a while. Brilliant guy. I know your journey. I know that, he himself has taken some risk and is working out, and he's a family man and all these kind of things. So keep doing what you're doing. First and foremost, thank you for inviting me.
Thanks, brother.
The second piece is to everybody out there, just learn as much as you can. Don't let fear stop you. Keep the right circle of people around you. If you look at my story, that's all I've been telling you. When I had fear, it's okay to have emotion, but when I had fear, I found ways to eliminate it. I have the right people around me. I have a small circle. I stay focused. Doesn't mean you don't make mistakes so that you're not focused at times, but just find out your purpose, stay focused. It's like what you meant. Find out your purpose, use that gift to get there, and really keep that circle small and just stay on the path. That's what I would say.
This game. Man, thank you for blessing us, brother. I
Thank
truly
you.
appreciate you. And listeners, you were in for a great one. So please watch this episode, listen to this episode multiple times. There's so many gems that were dropped here today. Thanks.
Thank you.